Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm CarloBaseball. With me as always is ErnieOrange. We have a great show for you guys today. 162 games completed. We had a doubleheader, and we'll talk about that, of course. But before we get into our show, I want to see how Ernie's doing out there. 162 games are over, man. How you doing out there?
Hey, Carlos, excited to be back talking baseball with you here. And we had a great day as a Monday. Last day of the season, we had extremely two great games, doubleheader. Yeah, the 162 game didn't mean much, but that 161st game, let's talk about it. It was a great one today. So stay tuned and we'll hope to see you back after this intro. With the sad news to report today that the MLB legend Pete Rose has passed away at the age of 83, a player known for his all-time MLB hits leader with 4,256 hits, was the 1963 Rookie of the Year, three-time MVP, and a three-time World Series champion. Everybody knows Pete Rose. It was a guy that played really, really well the game, and it was known for his Charlie Hustle type plays. A guy that was banned from the game of baseball for gambling. You know, back in 1989 when he was managing the Reds, he was found to be gambling on games he performed on or played. And it was one of those where Pete Rose was trying to change his image now and was trying to find a way to get into the Hall of Fame because he is deserving of, if you talk about his game alone, he should have been a Hall of Famer. But he was a guy that was trying to fight to change his image. It was really sad news today, Carlos. Legend here in the MLB. After having a great doubleheader today, we turned the page, and unfortunately, it was sad news.
That's crazy, dude, because the game just finished, and then they said, oh, I got a text like an hour ago, and it just happened live. Like, it had the raw footage right there and then, and that's how I found out right after the game. But it kind of sucks, if he passed away without him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and a lot of baseball fans have talked about that before, that he should be part of the Hall of Fame. Either you're on the right side, wrong side. He passed away already. He won't be able to ever, see that through. And if it does happen later on in lifetime that he does get inducted, maybe his family will really appreciate that. But I mean, sucks. We're losing a big baseball person. You said it, Johnny Hustle. Like, you never forget that. All right, guys, let's go. Let's move on to the next one. Like I said at the start of the show, it's 162 games completed. And these two games today were they were good, dude. 161. You said that one was the one that was like the best game. The Mets and the Braves, dude, they were going at it. Of course, they're divisional rivals, and both of them had the chance to move to the next step in the playoffs. Either one of them got swept and the Diamondbacks made it, or they split the series, which it did happen. But that 161 game, what you think about that?
Oh, it's considerably the game of the year. It was one of those. The Mets have been known for coming back games this whole season long, and they proved it again that why they should be in the postseason. Down three in the eighth inning, and they find a way to score 6 runs, nice and gritty with a double. And then Brandon Nimmo coming in with a 2-run home run to secure a 6-3 lead. But wait, the Braves decide to come back. And then Lindor in the ninth finds a way to hit a 2-run bomb to take the lead. And the beauty of this was Edwin Diaz telling his coach, his manager, hey, put me back in the ninth inning. I'm ready to save this game. After all the struggles and injuries he's had to deal with this year, he found a way to prove himself that he is that elite closer the Mets have.
Yeah. And that's kind of weird that he did go out there after, not protecting the lead in the eighth inning. He came back in the ninth, and I kind of felt like, why are you throwing them back in the ninth? You have a game tomorrow. You're going to face your playoff game. Yeah, I mean, you have 3 games to, make up for it, but you lose the first game in the wild card series, and you're already finding yourself in an elimination again. So it's like, why are you putting the stress on yourself? Like, you could have had Diaz go out in the eighth and then got out of it, and then have someone else come in the ninth. But I mean, it already happened. The Mets won. They made that playoff spot. And, of course, the Braves won the 162 game, which was a doubleheader. So both of them make it. The D-backs, unfortunately, did not make it. And, I mean, does it suck for the D-backs, you think, because they had to wait till today for this to happen?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate event. If you guys are not aware, there was a hurricane out in the East Coast that was affected by all this. This is the reason why they played a doubleheader this Monday. The MLB knew it was coming. They should have found a way to schedule it better. But
I think so.
Knowing Rob Manfred, man, he was all for this. He preferred a 2-day doubleheader for a day where no baseball was being played. He made sure football wasn't being played to not compete with the NFL, and his ratings and his views went up the roof because of this. So it was great baseball for Monday morning. Unfortunately, these teams are going to be affected going into the playoffs now. You're talking about a Braves team that has to fly to San Diego and play this hot San Diego Padre team. You have a Mets team that is tired from playing the doubleheader, now has to fight a Milwaukee. And they use their arms, Carlos. You're talking about Reynaldo Lopez at the second game today, pitching on a 1 day's rest after starting Saturday night. And now he has to pitch a bullpen game to save his team to make the playoffs. This is unheard of, man. And you're talking about we have to play already tomorrow. The schedule's really tight, man. There's no time for rest. It's like all gas, no breaks.
It is, dude. It is. So I'll go ahead and put the bracket up, and we'll talk about the AL first because we have the Detroit Tigers and the Houston Astros, and this is going to be an interesting one because the Tigers don't have a lot of superstar in their roster. I mean, Scuba, we all know he's going to be the Cy Young, and you have the Astros that are pretty pesky every freaking time they're in the playoffs. And no matter what you say about the Astros, they're still battling to try to make everybody upset, and they've done it again. They're in the 3rd seed. They're playing the Tigers. Who do you have, and do you see any good things coming out of this series? Do we see the Tigers possibly beating the Astros, or do we see the Astros coming through and beating the Tigers and getting through to the next step of the playoffs?
Man, you know what? This series is a toss-up for me. You have a guy like Tarek Skubal or AL Cy Young this year. It's a guy that's proven time and time again that he's unhittable. And AJ Hinch used to manage the Astros. Now he's with the Tigers. The reason he lost his job in the Astros was based on that scandal back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he wants to come back and go against his old team. He knows how Altuve plays. He knows Valdez. He knows all these type of players. The question is, can this young Tiger team compete with the Astros? This is where my biggest concern. The Tigers were not supposed to be here. They were sellers at the trade deadline, and they found a way to get hot in the right moment, and they found a way to sneak in the last seed. Definitely. But if you have to give it to me right now, I would say the Astros are going to win. Yes, we're tired of them always winning, but that's what they do. They're always in the American League Championship Series. That's what they do, man. They're this type of team that does not stop winning. And yeah, it's a great story for the Tigers this year, but I think they'll have the team better to compete next season.
Yeah. So the series didn't go in favorable for the Tigers. Remember, the Tigers just pick it up in the last month of baseball. They were around, that 500 mark and keeping up with the Guardians, keeping up with Kansas City. And they did do what they needed to do to make it to the playoffs. But in the series against the Astros, they were down 4-2 in favor of the Astros. The ERA for both teams, so I'll go ahead and give the Tigers, they gave a 4.85 against them, and the Astros had a 4.42. So that's going to be a high scoring game, especially if Tyreek is the only ace on that staff. You have other rookies, of course, that are going to be pitching lights out, and you have the Astros, which they have their pitching pretty well. But I think, to be honest, it's going to be a high scoring a series. And I think, I hate to admit it, but I feel like the Astros have more momentum, and they have that, I guess, that I don't know, that hate that everybody has against them to prove everybody wrong, and they go ahead and do it. So I don't know what to call it, dude. What can I call? What can we call it? What can we call it? I mean, something everybody hates on the Astros, and they decide to perform their best, and they always do. So I mean, I hate it. It's going to be 3 games. Is it going to go all 3 games? Do you think?
Yeah, that's the thing. With Tarek Skubal being on the mound game 1, the Tigers must win game 1 in order to get some type of way to get to game 3, right? But Tarek Skubal is that type of player that could get it for them. And I do see it going to game 3, a Tiger team that's been performing really well baseball right now, the month of September. And I could see them sneaking one out of the Houston Astros at home.
Cool. So what about game 1? You're calling the Tigers. They're taking the first game.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those upsets that nobody's going to expect. And then game 2 and 3, the Astros will find a way to win. That's what they do. Never doubt the Astros, because every time we do, even we did back in May when they were down 10 games, we finally said throw the towel. Look where they're at now. Even with Cal Tucker being out most of the season, they find ways to win. You know, when you have pitchers like Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco that came out of nowhere this season, and Justin Verlander could still pitch in the bullpen. You got guys out there that will throw innings with Hunter Brown and their bullpen. Josh Hader is going to close it out unless he has a blown save like he's had many of those this year.
Yep. All right, let's move on, man. Let's go to the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals. And this one, the Orioles won the series 4-2. So I feel like they had the Kansas City Royals have a little bit of more momentum going into the playoffs than the Orioles. I feel like the Orioles, we talked about it last week, that there's a lot of injured players, but to me, I guess because the Royals were always in that battle to try to get into that playoff spot, that battle of like them trying to make it to that last spot of the wild card. And to me, I feel like maybe Kansas City has a shot in beating the Orioles on this one. And like we talked about last week, it's because of the injuries for the Orioles for me. They did not get that trade that they needed to make. And I've always talked about it throughout all season. They didn't make that trade that they needed to make. And it's a battle with the shortstops again. We talked about it in the home run derby, how the shortstop battled it out. And now we have shortstops going at it here. So I just feel like maybe Kansas City has a little bit of an edge for me.
Right, which I do think the Royals do have the edge on pitching right now, just given the injuries the Orioles are having. But offensively, this Oriole team could get hot at any moment with Santander, Gunnar Henderson. Rushman hasn't had the best year, but you know what he could do. And the Royals have been kind of quiet the second half of the season. This is a team that was performing really well in the first half with Seth Lugo being their ace, but now they kind of slowed down and took it easy in the second half. This Oriole team, to me, is young and it's proven that they still need more aces in their starting rotation given the injuries, but it's a team that should win, and I'll see them winning in 2.
Winning in 2? I feel like Adley Rutschman needs to step up, dude. He hasn't been playing all that great. And if he doesn't step up for the Orioles, and I think that's going to be key for the Orioles, if this man does not step up, they're going to be done.
If he wants to get paid as a top-tier catcher in the MLB, he has to perform this series. You're right.
Yeah, and I just feel like that's the key for the Orioles. If the Orioles get that man going, Adley Rutschman can carry the team. Of course, there's other components to the Orioles, but I just feel like those injuries were key for the Orioles. And Santander, of course, he's been playing really good this last month. I mean, I had him in my fantasy. He was doing really good, and I mean, he's one of the ones that for sure are gonna be like the one of those players are gonna do it for the Orioles, but not just him. I need Adley Rutschman to step up, and I just feel like he's one of the key components for the Orioles. So I'm calling Kansas City, man. I want the Kansas City. I don't want. I mean, it's not that I don't want, but I'm just picking Kansas City. So I guess we'll do that little rivalry right there.
Okay, I think the reason why I'm going. So we have Tony here mentioning in the comments saying that he thought the Orioles were knocked out. He's saying Instagram's giving them fake news. Hey, man, you got to be careful. What are you reading out there? There's a lot of fake sources out there. There's a lot of fake MLB pages. You know what I do, man? I just hit the block sign. I don't want to see them popping up on my feed because if they're not going to provide me the right news, I don't want to be providing you the wrong news at the show, right? Be like, Instagram told me this. But the reason why I feel the Orioles have the best shot, they're young, and last year was a failure for them, right? It was a team that got knocked out in the first round, and I think they're going to overcome that this season. And I think they have the best shots for the next round to go against the Yankees. I think it's a team that's more, since they're divisional rivals, they have a better matchup against the Yankees. So I see them matching up better with the Yankees.
Dan, so you're already saying Cleveland doesn't have a shot.
You know what? I'm not trying to say they don't have a shot, but I just feel like Guardians had a great story this season, and you can't be upset at where they're at. I don't think one, even anybody listening, had the Guardians winning the division. So it's a great season already for them, being division winners, second seed, having a bye week. But with the new format in the playoffs, we've seen time and time again, these teams get affected by the week layoff. And I think that's a team that may be affected. Jose Ramirez not playing yesterday neither. Their game got canceled with the possibility of going 40 for 40 this season, and they canceled the game due to rain delay. It's one of those where, for me, he's a 40-40 in my book, because if you ask Jose Ramirez to hit a 40 on the last day, he would have done it.
He would have done it, but you got to kind of you have to protect your teams too. Like, you can't just have them out there because you don't know. I remember there's been a lot of times where you have your player play that last game and they get injured and they go into playoffs and you're like, dang, I should have not played on that last game. So I mean, it could have been something that happened in that regard. But yeah, they should be playing. They should be trying to get the best baseball out there. It's 162 games. It's not easy, but I guess we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the NL. So we do have the Mets and the Brewers. We talked about the Mets making that winning that 161st game today, which they had to make up. Who do you got on this one? And I feel like the Mets and the Brewers match up well, even though the record doesn't show when they faced off this season. It shows more favorable to the Brewers, but I think it's going to match well. And I think the Mets have a good momentum going into this playoff series. I know they didn't do so good in the last series, which was they lost the series three. What was it? It was 2-1, right? The
Yes,
series.
correct.
Yeah. So I mean,
You know
who
what?
do you got on this one?
This is an interesting one. I could potentially see an upset here. If you guys don't recall, 6 months ago, Jeff McNeil and Rhys Hoskins went at it at second base, and they don't like each other really much out there. Jeff McNeil's currently out, but this Mets team's been a really united team this season, and I know they don't really like the Brewers that much, and they want to go ahead and beat Rhys Hoskins. If you guys know, Rhys Hoskins was once a Philly, so there's still that NL East rival there. So I don't know, man. This Brewers team is another one. Pat Murphy, great job, man. Who could have thought this Brewers team should have been here? We thought that we're going to be rebuilding this season, given that they traded Corbin Burns. Christian Yelich goes out in the middle of the season with a back injury. Somehow they find a way to be here with Willie Adames and Contreras having, perfect seasons this year to take them to the next level. But this Mets team, man, the way they're performing, the way they call them the comeback kids these days, they find ways to win no matter how they do it, either through pitching, hitting. They'll find a way, man. And I think that's where the Mets team should be able to sweep this Brewers team in two.
Yeah.
It's weird to say sweep in 2 games. I'm not used to this.
Right?
This format is throwing me off because we're so used to a 3-game series. Now we're talking about a 2-game. It's if you do sweep them, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
That's crazy, dude. So at the beginning of the season, I guess they opened the season against the Brewers and Mets open, and the Brewers did sweep the Mets. And then this last time, the Brewers did take it to the Mets again, which they won 2 out of 3. But I just feel like the matchup is going to be good. You got Peralta that's been pitching really well for the Brewers, like Ernie said, and the Brewers have been doing what they need to be doing. To be honest, they lost their manager and counsel. He went to the Cubs, and the Cubs didn't make it anywhere. So I just
he went for the money.
He went for the money. Yeah, he left for the stacks. So this is interesting. I just noticed that they opened the season against the Mets, the Brewers, and then they closed the season against the Brewers. So that's pretty crazy. So the Mets opened the season with the Brewers, and the Mets finished the season with the Brewers. If this 2 games didn't happen, they would have had close to the season against the Brewers. So who you picking, the Brewers or Mets on this one?
We're going Mets. I think my gut team is gonna go far this year.
You got the Mets.
I see them going to the next round. I'm not sure if they have a chance with the Phillies there, but it's gonna be definitely a great matchup as well.
Okay, so I'm picking the Brewers. I'm just gonna go with the Brewers, yeah, only because of the record. I know the record does not mean anything. I just feel like they picked it up the last month of baseball. They were playing really good baseball. If you don't remember, they were playing. I guess they hit the part where they were playing over 500 teams, and they did really well. So when you play teams that are under 500 and you're keeping up and whatever, it's those games that you're playing teams that are over 500 and actually exceeding those expectations, which the Brewers did for me. I thought the Cubs were going to be doing that, and they didn't do anything to get to that spot. So I think the Brewers would take it in 3. I think the Mets are going to be tired tomorrow. I don't know if they had a chance to party today because they have to take their flight and go to Milwaukee. So, yeah, it's another team we're going against each other. Huh?
Luis Severino was drinking water. How about that?
You sure? It could have been white tequila.
That Blanco, huh? You talking about
that Blanco. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one, man. We got the Padres and Braves, and this one looks a little bit lopsided to me. I know the series were 7 games. The Padres did take 4 out of that 7-game series. It's just the Padres weren't playing good baseball when the Braves took that series out in Atlanta. And when they went to Petco, the Braves already had all their injuries. So they're going into the playoffs with injured players to me. And I just feel like the Padres are taking this one. I don't want to talk too deep into it. I just feel like that's what it is. But what do you think?
No, you're definitely right. Given the fact that Chris Sale had to be removed from tonight's game given from back spasms. That's kind of concerning. That was an NL Cy Young. You know, I didn't have the Braves making it, and you said there was a possibility the D-backs would be eliminated, and you were totally right. I couldn't believe
Got
you
lucky.
said this, and you got lucky.
I got lucky.
But
I got lucky.
this team, you know, they performed well this last 2 weeks, and they found to win some games with their experience. And Brian Snitker, you know, they know what they're doing out there in Atlanta. Given that they have a lot of injuries, they found a lot of great role players in the free agency, like Ramon Laureano. You got Gio Urshela coming in, helping out. You know, some infield depth, but they're finding ways to get some hits to win the games. Now, against this Padre team, man, they're too hot. This Padre team looks dangerous. He already announced their 3 starters, and I don't see this Brave team even finding a way. And flying from East Coast to West Coast in a time span of less than 24 hours. Sorry, Braves. You had a great run. It was a great year. You continue your playoff run for another season, but I think this is where it ends.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just like the Padres are. Let's talk a little bit more about the Padres. I think the Padres have been playing good baseball in the second half of the season, and they hold the best record in the second half of baseball. So here's the 65 games after the All-Star game. As you can see, the Padres are on top. You have Dodgers, Mets, D-backs, and the D-backs. We mentioned that they did not make the playoffs, and look at their record, 40-25. It's just their first half was a little bit off. It's not that they didn't do as well, but it's just the Braves and the Mets did beat them in that series, and that's what caused them to get eliminated. Then you have the Tigers, which I said, the Tigers were playing good baseball this last month, and they were around that 500 mark. They were good. They were bad. They got hot, cold, and that's why they're number 5 in the whole standings of the second half. As you can see, you go all the way down. They're the only team that's not even mentioned. Well, there's 2 now because the D-backs and the Cubs. But, you know, the Cubs are on there too. It's just they didn't have a good second half. So, yeah, man, I just feel like, to me, is the Padres, if they're going to win anything, they got to do it this year. They got an easier path to me because they did beat the Dodgers. They did beat the Dodgers in the series. And as a Dodger fan who hates, I mean, I hate to say that, but honestly, it's just the Padres have a good team. They have a good momentum. They have good chemistry. They have pitching. They have bullpen. They have their hitting, and they're bunting the ball, dude. So they're doing everything right. So,
hey, man, let's make it happen. We want Padres and Dodgers. You know, we want to grow this rivalry even more. And it's a rivalry, Carlos. Stop saying it's not, because it is.
It's not.
It really is. Well, this is the beginning. How about ever since Manny Machado's left, it's been a rivalry, because it's going to be a rivalry going forward. Why? Because we're still 2 hours away from one another, from LA to San Diego. And the way it's going, this NL West, there's a lot of competition going forward. So, yes, this Dodgers team should be concerned. From the NL side, I do see the Padres and Phillies going to the championship series. And this is where it's a toss-up. Whoever wins that one for me is going to win the World Series. So
I'm gonna be honest, dude. I don't see the Phillies at all. Look at their 33-32 in the last in the last
Carlos,
65.
but you got to realize they were also way ahead in the standings in the first half of the season. They were just kicking back. I feel like they were cruising, not really playing with a sense of urgency. And with the Braves going down with so many injuries, they had no rush to win games. They were just like, yeah, take it easy. No need to play these guys every day. And
so
I think
let me tell you something. Let me ask you something. So you think you can you can let go of the gas a little bit, even if you're playing? Because look, I feel like the Phillies are kind of like the Dodgers. Everybody that plays the Phillies, they have to play their hardest to try to beat them. I don't think it's like a way that, like Mookie Betts said, the Dodgers, everybody's trying to beat them because that's their World Series. I feel like the Phillies are the same way. And if the Phillies took their foot out the gas, how hard is that to do? Like, I think it's hard, dude. I just think they weren't playing good baseball. That's just the way it is. I felt that way. I felt like they weren't playing good baseball because they were playing really good baseball in the first half of the season. They got to All-Star break, and then it just kind of felt like, okay, what happened to the Phillies? And there was no mention that they were never gonna make the playoffs. They were gonna make the playoffs all the time, right?
Right, but I feel like some of the players went on some IL stints and they just took time to recover. And I feel like Bryce Harper was out for a couple weeks. Then you had Trey Turner miss a couple weeks. And I feel like they never had the lineup 1 through 9 complete. And now going to this postseason, and if they're all healthy, this is a dangerous team. And if they have to face the Mets in the next round, it's a rival they already know really well. And I think they're not going to be scared to face them. And that's where I feel that Phillies, Padres, matchup. It's going to be another rematch of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, 2022. Yeah, because the
So it's
Padres
going to
didn't
be
make it
another
last year.
rematch there, and I think that's whoever wins there. Won't get my prediction just yet. You have to wait till next week
No,
because I still
yeah,
have
I
to.
was gonna tell you, don't get
I
predictions.
still have to wait for the wild card performances. You know, I need to see how they're playing together.
Yeah,
But
don't give predictions yet. That one we'll go that far right now. So yeah, I honestly like the Dodgers are the best team for a reason. I know their pitching has been struggling, and I told a lot of people at the park yesterday that like I always been saying that the Padres, as a baseball fan, the Padres are gonna make it further. But as a Dodger fan, I think there's a lot of hate towards the Dodgers right now because they are the best baseball team. They have injuries, they have everything going. I know, I get it. They have Otani, they have everything that other baseball teams wish they had. So with all those injuries, they still are the best team out there with the record, and that's proven. That's there. You know, everybody was saying that the Phillies had the best record. No, the Dodgers won 2 games ahead of the Phillies, and they have home field advantage. So that has to matter for something, right? So
all right,
I just feel like maybe this last series against the Padres was one of those things where like, hey, you still my little brother, and we're still gonna show up in the series, and we're gonna. I wish it was gonna
what?
be a 7 game series though. The next one, the
I see
five
what you
game
mean.
series, it's a little bit too. I
Too
don't know,
short.
too short. I think it'll be better if it
Okay,
was, and that's where I'll kind of be like, okay, if it gets to a 7 game series, I think the rivalry will be bigger.
definitely. I have a
Yeah.
question for you. If the Padres were to beat out the Dodgers, will you be really upset?
No.
You
Why? Because
wouldn't. Okay.
no, I wouldn't. Because I think, like I said, I think baseball for me comes first, and I understand how the Padres are playing. They're playing really good baseball, dude. You can't say that. Oh, the Padres. If the Dodgers beat the Padres, I can see that. Oh shit, they beat the best team in the second half in the Padres, where they're all complete. You know, they didn't have to struggle with a lot of injuries. They were a complete team. Yeah, the Phillies have. I think for the most part, they've been playing good baseball. Like I said, the second half wasn't there for them, but the Padres could potentially beat the Phillies. They
Yeah,
have
you're
that.
right.
They
There's
have that.
something special with this team. It's built from top to bottom. And like we mentioned in previous shows, AJ Preller had a heck of an offseason, trading away a star like Juan Soto and finding a way to now be in the playoff mix, something they didn't have last year, you know. And you lose Blake Snell, you lose Josh Hader, and you lose Juan Soto, and you're doing much better this year than last year. That doesn't make sense.
And you got a new manager, so
Yeah.
that helps out too. Bob Melvin went to the Giants, and look what he did. Nothing.
Yeah,
So that
man.
kind of
It's
sucks
a
for
tough
them.
division. It's a tough division. Blake Snell wasn't ready in the first half, and it kind of hurt him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right, so you got I mean we got the Padres against the Braves. You got the Mets. I got the Brewers. You got the Orioles. I got KC. You got the Astros? No, yeah, right.
We got the Astros on this
We
one,
got the
unfortunately.
Astros, right? Yeah, we got the Astros. Okay, yeah, I'll leave it there. But we won't give out our predictions for the next series because I feel like we're gonna try to get on all this week, see if we can get on a little bit more. We do have the Thursday show. They're gonna be talking about. Maybe by then we'll probably have a fine. I guess ALDS already on the books. So
You're
stay
totally
tuned for
right.
that.
For
Yeah.
Thursday night, I think at that point we're gonna have all 3 games played by then, and some of these games are not even gonna make it past game 2. You know,
No.
2 game sweeps, and that's about be it. Your season's over, just like that. It's
Yeah.
crazy. This new
Hey,
format has changed the game.
so I got a question for you. Do you agree with how these standings are? Like, so look, you have the number 1 seed in the bottom. You have the Yankees and Dodgers in the bottom. You have the 4th seed and the 5th seed playing against each other. And I'm guessing the reason why they have the 4th seed because it's the lowest seed, right? And then you go to the top seed, which is number 2, which is Cleveland. You have the number 3 there, which is a lower seed than it is a 4. Is that why they're doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this format. I would rather see the number 1 seed having to face the lowest seed out of those 4 teams coming out.
So I think so. If the 2 seeds, I guess the bye week, I think they should have the 2 teams that have the best record. Let's say Cleveland and the Yankees, right? They have the best record. They won their division, but let's say the Central wasn't the best division, but you have a wild card team that has a better record in that than that division. Shouldn't they get the number 3?
Ah, I see what you mean. But
You know,
you know,
because look, so you have the Astros there. and you have the Orioles. The Orioles deservingly at least should get the number 3. I mean, it's not our fault that the West wasn't playing up to what the other divisions were playing at. I feel. I mean, I'm just saying that way is more fair for the Yankees. That way they face the lower seed. Then that's how it should happen, because you're going based off records, and this is not record based. Like the Padres play better than the Braves, the Mets, and they tied with the Brewers, so they could have been possibly number 3. You know.
You're totally right. It's something that, hasn't never been changed, so I don't see it happening anytime soon, but you're totally right. It sucks that you're the better record, somehow you're still in the lower seed.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I think that's where you have to win the division at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
that's why it's
That
hard
that's
to do.
that's the one. That's why it's like that,
Yeah.
huh? All right, let's move on, man. There was a player that retired this year in Colorado, and I guess he called it. He's gonna hang up his cleats. Charlie Blackmon. He's one of the greats. He went to the World Series with the Rockies, I believe, in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. So he was a rookie. And if I get it wrong, please post it on here because I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah,
But
it's Charlie
yeah,
Blackmon's been in the game for a while, and to think
a
that
long time.
to finally calling it quits. It's a guy that I could still see playing the next 3-4 years, if you ask me. The way he takes care of his body and keeps performing out in the outfield, he still had a lot of time left, but he decided to hang it up. It's kind of becoming a younger game these days, and I think he was ready to sit it out. The Rockies aren't really going anywhere in the future. I feel like they don't really spend it off season. And I think he's at the point of his career where he's like, what other contract am I going to really get out there with any other team? So he decided to sit it out.
Definitely. And if you haven't hit that like, go ahead and hit that like. Ask us, as it is a live show. So we have the comment open. If you have a question, we can answer it for you, or we can talk about the topic you want to talk about, of course. Another thing that happened is the A's played their last game in the Coliseum, and it was so sad to see all these fans posting all over Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere, dude. And I'm just
Ooh,
like,
I
from the
got the
beginning,
chills.
yeah, like there was people posting my first game and in my last game, and I'm like, man, imagine they take your team away. How would you feel if they took the Angels away from Anaheim and they took them to, let's say, Arizona, Vegas? I mean,
Oh,
it's still a little
man.
close, but that's 5 hours, 6 hours away.
It hurts. It would hurt. Definitely hurt, because especially those people that had been in there since the 60s, 70s, 80s. They
Yeah.
got to watch some great Oakland A's teams. There were scary teams back in the 80s. They were known for their big
Oh,
players, right?
yeah.
And to see them go and all that history gone from Oakland, it's pretty tough, man. I felt bad for the fans. I saw them crying, tearing up, and that's not the way John Fisher should have handled this whole situation. This guy's been MIA, has not even spoken to the media. Everybody hates John Fisher in the Bay Area, and this guy sucks,
Yeah.
because I feel the MLB should have done something for them, and they didn't. And that's where I think Rob Manfred and Buzz Selig failed the MLB fans for not making a way to stay in Oakland. At the end of the day, this team will always be the Oakland A's. Yes, they're moving to Sacramento for the next couple of years and then Vegas, but I don't think nobody would ever consider them those other cities. And it would be always Oakland for them.
That's definitely. And for you guys that think, oh, this man didn't have money, he had $2.13 billion. And we're talking about billion, not million, $1 billion. And he wanted the city of Oakland to pay for that stadium. That's why he decided to leave. And you said it. Rob Manfred did not step in and try to tell him, we'll sell the team or do something for these fans, because Oakland has been having the A's for quite a while. They have the Bay Area series, which we're not going to have anymore. There's a lot of history in Oakland, dude. The 1989 World Series earthquake. The A's won that World Series. I mean, come on, like, why take the team away? It's not like you had that team that no one supported. It's just the last years no one supported it because you did not put a product out there, and you were saying that you wanted to move. So of course the fans are not going to want to stay there. They want to go away.
Right.
And I put myself in the situation where the fans were posting my first game to my last game. And I felt like, damn, how would I feel if they took away the Dodgers away from here? Like, how would I feel knowing that I had some bonding times with my friends, my kids, my family, like things like that. And yeah, it's a team. And of course, like, it's not about the fans, it's about about the business. I get it, but at the same time, you're taking away all those memories from the fans, and it sucks for them. Like I said, I put myself in their situation, in their shoes, and it's sad, dude. It was really sad.
Yeah,
So
man. And seeing that sellout crowd and that last game of the season, and the way they won the game, it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful message by their manager as well, and everything was an amazing moment seeing them. But it's sad. It's sad for the game of baseball and their MLB fans. Now
yeah,
they will be in Sacramento. I know Karina, one of the listeners here on the chat, she's from Sacramento, so we have to go check out a game out there in the minor league stadium.
how many people fit in that? 15,000.
15,000. That's gonna be weird.
Gonna go to the Yankee game to see Aaron Judge. You'll see him close up. I mean, that's the closest you ever see him. Maybe if you buy seats all the way in the nosebleeds, which is not that high. So that'll be interesting though to see the A's out there in Sacramento. So
Definitely.
all right, we got more stuff for you guys. So um, I know we mentioned Pete Rose in the beginning, but I forgot to ask you. Um, do you think that maybe with this happening to him, which he's not part of the sport, they're gonna try to push that Hall of Fame even closer, or it's just one of those things where maybe
Oh man.
another commissioner will step in and do it?
You know what? I don't see it with Rob Manfred happening anytime soon. It's a guy that if he would have done it, he would have done it now, knowing that he was already up in age. And Rob Manfred's the type of guy that doesn't really care about people's feelings or anything. There's this other player, Joe Jackson, part of the 1919 White Sox
Hmm.
scandal. And, this guy was also never been put in the Hall of Fame, given all the stuff. It's been already over 100 years since that incident. Given his career, he should have been in the Hall of Fame as well. And he's never, to this day, it's not in the Hall of Fame. So
Dude, he's not even
it would have to,
mentioned.
exactly. It would have to be another commissioner coming into the league and vouching for P-Rose.
Yeah, because I didn't really look. So there's two things, or there's a bunch of things I can mention from Manfred that I don't like in what he did. Pete Rose is one of them, and we've talked about it. We have another one is Barry Bonds, and we can talk about how many times we've said Rob Manfred on this show. Like, because I feel like we say his name every show, and if we skip the show without saying his name, I'll be surprised. But I think as baseball fans, and as we start noticing these little trends, it's just the game is not getting, I don't know, the time, we don't know anything. Like, we haven't changed, we haven't seen the change in the game so much in time, because like he added the time clock, right? But it's still lasting like 3 hours. It's not it didn't change a lot to me. Like, remember we were saying how we're gonna go to the restroom, come back, and there's gonna be the second inning. It hasn't happened. I think they find these loopholes. These pitchers found the loopholes. The hitters found loopholes. The catchers gets up and they don't even crouch like right on time, so the time could start going. So they found these little loopholes, and you still have that time issue. So what did it fix? I still haven't seen it, and that's the thing, right?
No, definitely. And see, Rob Manfred tries to do things to better the game, but he's done a lot of things that's hurt the game just as like, you're talking about the MLB blackouts, how this people are still finding ways struggling to watch games in the MLB apps. And then, this year we had the uniform issue. He's finally fixing that. But, you had a whole year of people complaining. You're talking about the All-Star uniforms, people complaining about that. Now he's going back to the traditional way. He's just done some moves that doesn't make sense. And unfortunately, we have to deal with him for another 5 years because somehow the owners love him.
Yeah.
And it benefits the owners with him being under the commissioner.
Well, of course they're gonna love them. They let you sell. I mean, they let you just get rid of the old baseball contract in the stadium and go to a different city, like the A's. Of course they love them. They let you keep all your money and let you do whatever you want. I mean, if it's working for the owners, why change it, right? But then the fan base needs to understand too, like the A's did. You don't put a product out there, we're not gonna go buy tickets. Do you think that Las Vegas is gonna create tickets for them? Maybe, because if I'm in Vegas, I won't want to go see the stadium. But
Right.
let's say a non-baseball fan that goes out there, are they going to go see the stadium? You don't know that. You might be
Yeah.
losing money. So,
And if they're not going to be really true Ace fans. It's just going to be fans of other teams going to see them in Vegas.
you just mentioned it too. They're changing the All-Star game back to wearing their uniforms. Do you like that idea?
Yes, I think we all all old school MLB fans like that idea.
Yeah, I do. I kind of wanted to get away from that ugly color uniform that they were wearing, because I don't think I
Ooh.
saw a uniform that was like, oh man, that looks dope. Like any All-Star game, I just felt like when they wore their uniform, I felt like, oh, this is the way to do it. This is seeing the player that plays for your team and wearing your your favorite team's uniform out there with All-Stars. I think that was dope. I think that's the way to go.
Cool,
Um,
cool, man. We have some comments here. We say
yeah,
Karina saying that she can't watch Dodger games in the Central Coast because of blackouts, and or either they're on Apple TV or they're on Peacock or they're on Roku. It's so many ways to watch these games these days. It's almost impossible for the regular MLB fan to be able to watch. We have Chicks Who Loves Baseball. If they give it a P-Rose, put in Barry Bonds as well. It's a lot of Rob Manfred needs to talk about these things. You know what I
I
mean? We
think
want to
so.
hear his opinion why he hasn't put these guys in the Hall of Fame.
I would like to have an open, like, if he had the open forum to where we can go and talk to him and ask him a question, that'll be a question I will ask. Definitely be like, hey, are you looking into Pete Rose hitting the Hall of Fame? I know what he did was a huge mistake, and we were all young ones, and like I get it.
Mhm.
He did what he did, but you let the 2017 Astros take that trophy, and I mean that was a big scandal, huge. He did nothing about
2018
it.
as well.
And yeah, why not leave? Why are we leaving out the Red Sox because it's a bigger market? No, the Red Sox did it too. They know they did. That's why Cora got suspended. So I mean, those type of questions need to be asked to this man in front of the public and live TV. I think that'll be dope if we
Yes.
could even ask him these questions. I
This
think that
guy
would be
has to
really
be on
cool.
MLB Network on a weekly basis and talking about the game of baseball.
I think so. I think so because there's so many questions that need to be answered, which he's not answering. And I just feel like there's a lot of fans, dude, that feel like, okay, what are you doing to have a little kid look at baseball games? What are you doing to have the games not being blocked in certain areas? Because if you go to I'm not gonna get Apple TV, dude, to watch a Dodger game. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, why are you allowing Apple to show Friday night games and not make it available to everybody? And then why are you having Peacock and all these other freaking apps that you have to subscribe to watch the game? I don't think that's fair. You have a deal. The team has a deal with their cable companies and all that stuff to I guess produce revenue, and then you don't allow them to just show those games. You have other apps coming into baseball and allowing them to show them there. I just don't agree with that. It's just kind of
Totally.
like when we were kids, they will block off cartoons to show the Dodgers, and that's not there anymore. It's not there. Yeah, when I was a kid, they used to block it, dude. I think I've said it like billions of times. I was like, why are they blocking the cartoons to play baseball? So that's what was going on back then. But I mean, if we're gonna make the baseball better, it's just kind of, I guess we have to go through these little rules we don't like to get to a better place, right? Sometimes it has to, I guess, rain hard before it stops or whatever. So we'll be there. Yeah. Any more questions? No, no.
No, it looks like we're waiting for some comments. You guys have any questions for us? Let us know. But I think we want to go back to the playoffs. I know tomorrow's going to be 4 games, and we had a discussion, something that we don't agree with Rob Manfred as well. Why are there so many day games? You need to tell me these players play all these night games all year round, and now they have to go to the postseason and play in the day. It's hard. It changes the shadows, hitting the ball, pitching, the heat, or the rainy weather. It affects these players dramatically, and it's tough for them. I feel like bad for this Orioles team is a team that I feel like because they're not a big market like that, they're always stuck playing these day games. And I
Yeah.
think that's what affected them last year, if you ask
Yeah.
me.
I think, to be honest, I think it should have National League play at a certain time and American play at a certain time. Don't scatter it to where you have 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m., and then 7:30 p.m. because then it's just too scattered. Like, are you really going to have a chance to watch the Orioles play at 10 in the morning? If you're out here in the West Coast working, you're not going to get a chance. You didn't have a chance all season to watch them. Why would you try to skip work to watch it? I don't know. I think they need to change that format. If
They're
they're
gonna
gonna
get me in.
watch it, huh?
They're gonna get us in trouble at work watching all this baseball.
Yeah, I just don't like that. It's. I mean, they're trying to make money, right? But I just don't get why that's happening. I remember a few playoffs ago, they had the Dodgers playing at 1. Like, are you kidding me? At 1? That makes no sense. You know, we we get out of work if everybody here in LA they get out of work around 2 to 5 or 6. That's the time to get out. You're dealing with that traffic. You add the traffic to to Dodger Stadium, you'll never get home, dude. That sucks. That really sucks that we have a 1 p.m. game if that's going to happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen this season, but a few seasons ago, that's what happened. And then you have New York playing at 9 p.m. out there. That's super late. Are you going to go to those games? Like, if you're from the East Coast, like, that's late, dude. Why not have them start at the normal time they normally do, like at 4 p.m., which is East Coast, 7 p.m. out here? I think that's
Totally.
fair. I think
Right.
that's fair. So,
I think we could all agree. Now, it's one of those where Rob Manfred's not going to do it because, again, for money purposes, revenue, he wants the most views for every single game, and I get it. But I feel like most people these days have multiple tablets, and we find ways to watch games in different tablets. So, or one TV and one in another tablet.
yeah.
But it's one of those, right? We have Karina asking, who is your National and American League MVP and Rookie of the Year? If you watch previous shows, and I think you should know that Judge and Ohtani are the heavily favorites for the MVP. Now, the National League Rookie of the Year, it's one of those where it's been really competitive, and I think me and you, Carlos, have gone back and forth saying that it should be Jackson Merrill, and then there's everybody in America saying it should be Paul Skeens. It's one of those where
I just feel like Paul Skeens comes out every 7th or every sixth night, right? And
yes.
does he really play every game? And it's not fair towards him either. Because remember, when he came into the league, he was destroying the league, dude. He was striking out dudes like 8. He would reach 8, 10. I think he even reached 12 Ks this season. So that's kind of hard to see these days in baseball. So he struck out the Yankees, your favorite Judge and I
Soto.
can't think Soto. You have Mookie Betts and Ohtani. So like that itself is amazing. But then you have the Padres, which we have the comeback kid. This kid was hitting home runs in the late innings and making the Padres win. The reason why the Padres are where they are is because of this rookie as well. A shortstop converted into a center fielder. That's an amazing story in itself. So you're talking about going back and forth with that one, and I just feel for some reason Skeen's gonna have that edge, dude, and that's gonna suck.
He really is. I think the reason why, because his ERA is sub 2. It's a 1.93. But I again lost a lot of respect because he got pulled after 2 innings in Yankee Stadium, and he didn't want to pitch to Soto and Judge again. Yeah, you struck him out, but how about that second time? And we didn't get to see it. Ohtani got struck out the first time, but he came back and hit a bomb after in the second at bat. So Jackson Merrill, it's a young kid, 20 years old, that's proven that he's an elite hitter. Finds ways to put the ball in play, and he has some clutch gene on him because he had a lot of great big hits this season. We have Angel coming up saying, "What's up, Ernie? Been a while." Yeah, man. Thank you for stopping by and talking baseball. I know it's the postseason. Yep. We hope to see you guys here more often. We have a lot of great baseball coming up. Some major market teams. I know our Angels are not there, Angel, but we'll be back, man. Maybe in a decade, but we'll be there. We got Chewy here. He said, I just logged in so Ernie can apologize and said he was wrong about my Braves. I really was, Chewy.
Put you on the spot.
Hey, Chewy, let's talk about this, man. To be honest, I think me and you both knew that they probably didn't have a chance back 2 weeks ago. And now they changed it around and won. The D-backs were heavily favored the way they were playing, but then they kind of got banged up and it was a little too late, too soon. And it's a D-backs team that is 16 games to be above 500 and still find themselves out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was a little too late. I guess I don't know. I don't even know when I made that prediction. Was it 2-3 weeks ago when they weren't playing that good? And that was the first week they weren't playing that good. And I even just said, like, I don't even know if that's going to even happen. And it did happen to where the Mets and Braves made it. So do you think the Mets and Braves talked it over and they were like a friendly talk and be like, you know what? We won the first one. You can have the second one. I don't know. I know it doesn't happen. But do you think it could happen that way?
It did, Carlos. You got the Cunha brothers. We had one on one side and the other Cunha on the other side. And you could tell they're going to help each other out. At the end of the day, yeah, you're division rivals, but we're all happy to be in the mix, and you can see the players congratulating each other after the celebrations in the field. So you saw them having a great time, just talking it over, like, hey man, have a good time in Atlanta. And the other guys were like, have a good time in Milwaukee, you know, and giving out there, I'll see you guys next year. It was nice to see. You could tell two teams that were kind of working together to take these D-backs out.
So does this mean that the East is the best in the NL? Since they have 3 teams making the playoffs?
No. We all know the West is still the deepest team, just with the Padres and Dodgers alone.
The Padres, okay.
I mean, if the Braves were healthy, yes, it would have been. I would have said the East. But given the fact that the Braves are banged up, and I bet Chewy here would even tell you the Braves are all banged up. It was kind of not that it was luck that they're here, but they fought hard, right? And you got to give it up to them. But going forward, you're going to face some teams that are much healthier and have, stacked rosters compared to them, given their injuries right now.
And what about the AL? Do you think the East is the best division?
Right now it is, and this is the Yankees' year to win. I feel like there's really nobody out there that could take them out. They have to be in the World Series. This is their best chance they've ever had. It's an Astros team that is not the same that it once was. Altuve's getting much older. Bregman is too, and now you have some young arms, and you have Justin Verlander who's not the same either. So you got to take advantage of this Yankee team and be in the World Series, especially because the pressure's on, guys. It's a team that has not been there since 2009. There's huge expectations in New York, and they should be there given that you have a 2-star power players like Judge and Soto there.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. I do have another question for you. We talked about it last week about the Ohtani home run ball and everything that happened with that ball. So now it's heading into a lawsuit because there's an 18-year-old kid that said that he had it in his hand first and the other man came to his hands and ripped it off him. But if you're looking at the video, this kid had one hand on that ball, recording on the other. You know how kids do it nowadays. If they don't record it, it didn't ever happen. So do you think this is something that should go to court or should just be disputed by, hey, dude, you stripped it off his hand? That's on you.
I mean, the video footage, if you really look at the video footage, the kid didn't really seem to have the ball, if you ask me. He may try to have pushed his left hand to try to reach for the ball, but at the time, the more and more I look at this video, the little kid had no control of the ball. His phone was in his right hand tight, but there was no ball in his hand. So I think he's just trying to get a pay cut. He's trying to set his life up, with a couple grand in his hand and, say that he made some money out of Ohtani too. But yeah, this lawsuit kind of sucks. I feel bad for the guy that caught the ball now, but he's still going to get his money. And I think the kid's not going to win the lawsuit. And he's going to probably get just a small percentage of what the ball really sells. And that's already a big win, if you ask me.
It's a big win, yeah. But if we're going by rules by where, hey, if the ball's there, and you're playing football and you have one hand on it, you have the potential of someone stripping it out of that hand. Because remember, we're taught that, dude. I think we're taught that when we break the piñata and go after candy, and we're like, you get on it and you're like, this is my candy. You don't get nothing. You're not getting anything.
I'm pushing the hell, the hell out of me.
Exactly. So why are you recording it with your one hand and have the ball in the other if you had your hand on that ball? Come on. If you are a kid and you're watching this, learn from this 18-year-old. He did not do good. I mean, if he wins a little bit of money.
Coach Carlos, this is what you got to teach the kids at baseball. Use both hands to catch the ball.
Definitely, yes. You got to use 2 hands. And I've always said that even if it's one of those things where you or anybody gets mad, you have to use 2 hands. Baseball is a really unpredictable game. You may see the best team hit the field and you get a bad hop and you win because of that. Just like this 18-year-old did not put his 2 hands on there. He decided to record it, and it sucks for him. I mean, I just hope he doesn't get anything, to be honest.
He's not for me either. I totally agree with you. I think he doesn't deserve any type of money. He never had the ball in his hand. Yes, he was close to this guy next to the ball, but first of all, you need to put in some weight because you should have been able to push that guy for the ball. He was scrawny little kid. He needs to bulk up. Just saying.
he needs to go get some training, some weight training lessons or something.
Definitely, man.
Grip that ball. You need to grip that ball.
There was no chance he was getting that ball. That other guy was on his knees and he had it protected like this is mine.
Yeah.
So it was a funny moment seeing that it's being sued. This ball is potentially being worth up to $4.5 million, guys. It's a lot of money. Whoever collects this money is going to be set for life just for being at the right time, at the right moment. And who would have thought Ohtani hits it up opposite field? You know what I mean? Everybody would expect. How you bought your tickets? I think you would have said, "Let me sit in right field to catch that ball." Right?
Mm-hmm. Right
These
field.
people sat in the left field and and got lucky. You know?
So if you were there, would you go after the ball even if it wasn't like close to you? Like, or it was in the same vicinity, right? It was in the same sections. Would you go after it? Or would you sit back and just let it happen?
No, I think I would have tried to play the bounce and hopefully try to be in the right spot at the right moment by the
Uh,
looking at the bounce, how the ball was going to bounce. But it's one of those where I know everybody's going to be there and it's going to be a big fight. Even if
yeah.
you get the ball, there would have been some big guy like, "That's my ball, bro. You ain't leaving the stadium."
Well, there was a big guy, I guess, compared to the 18-year-old. So we'll see what happens. I guess this is not going to end soon when this ball is sold, and if it gets sold, will it be one of those things where they're going to have to hold the money, or I don't know. We'll see what happens because this is not going to end right. It's not going to end soon. We're going to probably hear about this case for years to come because video I guess apparently video is not enough these days. You need
Yeah.
more people saying, yeah, that kid wasn't even there when that happened, or I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure there's so many paperwork you need to look at and all that stuff. Well, whatever. We're part of the I guess we're reaching that power hour of time, so I'm excited for playoff baseball. Are you?
Yeah, I really am. I think we have the next couple of days of great games. And I think if you guys are watching here, you're tuning in because these are going to be some potential great matchups going forward. And we have the potential to see some big market MLB teams this year. And it's, I think, going to be something special. The postseason's another type of game, man. Those
Mhm.
162 games are exciting, but I feel postseason just goes another level that we don't ever get to see on a regular basis. And you see the fan bases going crazy, the towels, the rallies. Man, it's an amazing
The
time.
pressure,
October is the best time of the year for sure.
the pressure, the timeouts,
Oh
the
yeah,
the I guess throw outside to kind of show him that we're gonna walk him, or throw him an eyesight to change his eyesight level so he will swing at the top. I guess swing at the top pitches. It's you get to see different type of baseball that I guess you learn as you go. I just kind of feel like maybe if you are watching for the first time and this is your first time watching playoffs and hate baseball throughout the season, I think this is the best time that you will get plugged into the game and really
yep.
understand what coaches' decisions happen there, because you may think they're calling something, but there's a game within the game. And this is the time to do it, dude.
I
This is
mean,
the time to watch.
Carlos Mendoza was getting ripped apart for making some of these moves today, putting
Yeah,
Bader as a cleanup hitter, and it worked out for him.
it
There's
worked
days,
out for him.
and if it doesn't work out, you're getting chewed out. There's times where Dave Roberts, what the hell did he do that move? Aaron Boone getting criticized left and right. You made the wrong move in the bullpen, and it's type of games that we don't really know what's going to happen. Sometimes there's luck, and sometimes there is like some chance that something crazy may happen that we never expected.
And that's right, chance. That's what happens. That's what happened in 1986 with the Red Sox. Behind the bag, it's behind Buckner. Everybody knows that one. Like, so the
Yes.
Mets won that World Series that year against the Red Sox, and the Red Sox had only 2 outs to go to win the World Series.
You have the 2001 Diamondbacks, Luis Gonzalez hitting a blooper out of Mariano Rivera, considered the greatest closer in this game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of memorable moments that do happen in October, and I think we're excited to see what 2024 has in plan for us.
I'll give one more. The Red Sox having Dave Roberts at first base, being 3-0 against the Yankees. He stole second base, and then they got a hit to tie the game, and Ortiz hits that home run in the extra innings and takes it to the next game. And every game after that, it felt like the Yankees were going to win, and the Red Sox just kept saying, "No, it's not our time to leave." They went out and they won the series 4-3. They went to the World Series against the Cardinals, and that's how she wrote. In the '86 year drought of not
Boom.
winning the World Series happened that year. So that
We
can
could talk
happen.
about the 2011 Cardinals. Dude, we could talk about World Series memories a whole hour just on this, I bet.
Yeah, that's what makes the game so beautiful and so cool, because those little things that you say, oh no, they're down 3-0 already. That's not gonna happen. No, it could happen. So stay tuned and watch. We'll try to get on every game. I mean, not every game, but try to get on every day to see where they're at. The teams will probably get on for 15, 20 minutes and see what's going on.
Post-game, right? Post-game
Yeah.
reactions. I think that would be a great option. Let us know if you guys want that. But yeah, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and make sure to hit that bell button to be always updated on the latest stuff here from Real Talk Baseball.
Definitely. Was that your last mention?
It really was. I didn't even let you tell me.
That's good. That's good. You already saw the time, so it was the 1 hour. So from all of us here at Real Talk Baseball and CarloBaseball, this is ErnieOrange. Real Talk Baseball, signing out.